All right, everyone, welcome to another episode of What's What BR. Today we've got a returning guest. We have Ethan, and we also have the man himself. We have Mr. George Bell, who is the CEO for Capillary United Way. How are you guys?
We're great. Thanks for having us.
I will. It's great to be here.
Awesome. Well, thanks for putting up with the traumatic event of going through one of these shows, Ethan, and coming back and doing it again. So it's couldn't have been that bad, I guess.
No, it wasn't. I had to do a lot of breathing exercises before we started, but I think I'm ready to go.
Yeah, that's breathing, and then have something on the side that you can squeeze. A little
That's right.
stress ball to get through it.
That's right. That's right.
So no, we wanted to have you guys come back and tell us. We're about to make I guess we're kind of 1 year anniversary, or kind of going where now we can actually say we're no longer saying the inaugural, giving day, but now we're at the annual giving day. So Ethan, I guess jump in and dive in for somebody who doesn't know right out of the gate, what are we doing here this giving day? What is the Reader's Digest version?
Sure. 225 Gives is a community-wide day of giving and support for all of the nonprofits in the 10-parish capital region. Mr. George Bell and his team are graciously hosting the annual event. It is an online giving day, or a virtual giving day. Now, there's other ways that you can give, but the goal is collectively, as we look at what all of our nonprofits went through last year, what they continue to go through this year, we're trying to provide them opportunities and a platform for them to all go raise money over 24 hours together on November 30th, so that they can all show the value of philanthropy, gain new donors, educate the community about what they do, and then further enhance and extend their missions as they go into 2022. It takes place on Giving Tuesday, which is a international day of giving in support of your favorite nonprofits. Capillary United Way and their team and our technology partner Neon One is an organization we've come together to try to make it much easier and more efficient for donors to learn about all of our nonprofits and for nonprofits to tell their story and try to raise as much money as they can together in 24 hours.
Yeah. So George, how did you guys get, you guys are spearheading this, right? Kind of that's the glue pulling it together, right?
Certainly. And the reason we got involved was because, as you recall, last year, we were in the midst of the pandemic, COVID-19 pandemic. And what we realized is that a lot of nonprofit organizations had to cancel fundraising events, were not able to conduct business as usual when it came to fundraising. So Rolf McAllister reached out to a few leaders, and specifically David Beach from the Wilson Foundation, and John Davies and John Spain from the Baton Rouge Area Foundation. And they said, hey guys, look, we need to do something because these nonprofits are really struggling. Why don't we look at creating this community-wide giving day, and let's see if we can make that work. And as history would reveal, we were able to successfully pull this off last year. Both RAF and Capillary United Way co-hosted the event last year. And when it came to looking at it again this year, RAF said, hey, United Way, you guys seem to have a handle on this. Why don't you just go ahead and do it? And we stepped up and said we would take it on. Little did we know, though, that we would be in a situation where not only do we still have the lingering effects of a pandemic, but we also had Hurricane Ida come through. So the need is great. A lot of the same headwinds that nonprofits were facing last year are still here and still present. So it's even more important this year that we hold this event and do it successfully so that we can get a much needed lift for our nonprofit community.
Absolutely. No, it's funny. You're kind of you guys are forward thinking further ahead than, myself. I talked with we had Major Don from the Salvation Army come
Yeah,
on, the show last week, and we were talking about, the efforts that they were working, and Sam and Greg Merriweather were kind of like right in just the thick of it. And then he just decided to kind of drop the bomb of, it's like, well, we're about to get into the Christmas season, and the giving and Thanksgiving, when traditionally is when we really needed, to help. And now we've got so many people that need help. And then we've got people that are coming to help in our communities. And then when they come, they can't bring all their resources with them. So they need help when they're here. So we just keep, we're solving the problem, but it's also compounding. And that's what I think was, if I was honest, what I learned, last year during the, pandemic, of all of, we interviewed and had on the show as many as we could, so many different nonprofits and the groups and the services that they do. And there's a reason that we need them. That, it's not necessarily a functional business model, that works where someone's going to go start that and they're going to be able to, run a profit. It's a need the community has. And what a lot of people don't realize is how much they're really doing. You don't know what you've got until it's gone.
And it's so true, Brandon. What we're finding is that, government certainly has its place, business has its place, but there's a gap. And that gap is where the nonprofit community steps in and fills the need. And as you mentioned, organizations like Salvation Army do a wonderful job. And you really appreciate them in times of disaster and following a major event like Hurricane Ida. They have been boots on the ground, providing much needed services and relief. And we're proud to support organizations like that at the United Way.
So, Ethan, you mentioned another partner. I think you said like Neon One. Were they the tech behind this?
They are.
Process?
Yeah, they are. Neon One is a company that supports really a lot of very successful community giving days around the country. So they are our technology partner. They helped us obviously create the website, create the ease and the technology that lets nonprofits post their stories and build their pages, and really kind of helps, of course, keep track of all the giving that's going on in one day. So if you're a donor or a prospective donor, not only can you go to 225gives.org, you can find any nonprofit that's participating. You can learn about them. You can research. You can see exactly what they're doing. And it's almost like a shopping experience if you really want to break it down. You say, you know what, I found 3 nonprofits today that I really want to support. I read their story. I believe in their mission now, or I think I believe in their mission. I want to support them as much as I can. And so I can go make a donation to all 3 of those and check out sort of one time and really create some maximum impact. You can learn if those nonprofits have special things going on that day. I mean, a lot of nonprofits get matching donors, so that I could go on the website and say, man, they've got a matching gift in place. Now I can double my impact. A donor's going to match my gift. And so there's all these neat ways that you can just experience 225 Gives, and they are the partner that has helped, along with the United Way staff and their team, really pulling it together for us. And I think George is right. There's a good example. A lot of people don't know the great things and the great void and the gap that our nonprofits fill. And we hope this day is also about raising awareness. Yes, it's to raise as much money as possible collectively through our online platform and online program. But the reality is we also want people to be exposed to the great work that's going on. So there's a whole lot of additional information that you can learn about nonprofits by exploring and experiencing that site on November 30th.
And Brandon, again, the beauty of this.
And one of the things that I learned with it.
Yeah. One of the beauty of this campaign is that it allows. Oh, that's all right. It allows individuals to access. Last year we had over 200 nonprofits that participated. So you get to take a look at all of those and make selections. And it's not always the big gift. There are people who are able to give, $10 to 10 different organizations if they so choose. It's the beauty of being able to make one transaction a gift to as many nonprofits as you'd like to support.
Well, and that's where, exactly where I was going. I looked, there was just an incredible amount of nonprofits. And one of the things as well that I learned that a lot of these groups, people are familiar with, the United Way. People are, familiar with, Red Cross and Salvation Army, but there's so many smaller groups that they don't have, the executive director is the one. It's maybe them and maybe one or two other people that are kind of working in that organization, and their boots on the ground. They don't have people to go kind of run these campaigns, for them. And so they're just trying to further the mission. And so it's huge. And what I also learned was that was almost, scary. And I learned some of this through the course of talking, I think maybe with Ethan last year, and then also just talking with some friends in the business. Is it not, a lot of these nonprofits, in order to do what they do and to continue the mission, they still have to have, they have to be audited. They've got to spend money, to kind of maintain that status. And a lot of them are having to, we're having to pick, where do we spend this money? I want to help with this, but I need to do, this is what I have to do to be, fiscally responsible. So you didn't have all the golf tournaments that we were used to. You didn't have, the galas that people were used to coming to. You didn't have all of that. And so you had to find a way. What I believe was make it easy, which is what, the platform has done for people to donate, and bring it all in to where I think too many times we compete with apathy, at the end of the day, to where it's like, yes, I want to do that. And it's like, I'm going to, y'all donate something, and then you forget, but if we can, you can crunch it all into one, find people, and then just the masses turns into where it makes huge impact. And I don't know who's got numbers, but I think, wasn't there some really big, this was some real serious money that rolled its way in last year, right? In a matter of, 24 hours.
Yeah. Go ahead, Ethan.
Yeah. So, to answer the first part of that, or to respond to that, Brandon, one thing I would say is we talk about it all being on the 24 hours, but we do open it about 2 weeks early. So we want to give every donor the opportunity, and every nonprofit. So we call that early giving. That'll be about 2 weeks ahead of time. But then the big focus takes place from midnight on November 30th, obviously till midnight the following to 24 hours. But the beauty of it is, last year we had really no idea. It was our first year. We really could compare against similar sized cities that had done this, but they had a few years of building it. We raised over $2.8 million last year. I say we. Nonprofits in our community really worked hard and generated over $2.8 million for their mission. Now, we did some work, right? And we had some corporate partners and individuals who basically helped us create a challenge fund, which I'll talk a little bit more about some of that work that goes into it. So we had some folks that really got behind this, really supported getting it off the ground. And all in all, over $2.8 million was put to work in our community in January of this year from what was raised on December 1st last year. And we certainly expect, we're hoping that our goal is going to be over 3, and that we're going to generate even more money moving forward for the calendar year 2022, when they're able to make those dollars go to work for their mission.
From all indications, that was an impressive first year.
Yeah.
We as Ethan said, we got a late start because the decision wasn't made to do it until probably 90 days before the event. And but I was real pleased and grateful for the way the business community rallied around creating that challenge fund. We had over $500,000
right.
of donated funds that we were able to use as both incentives and as prize money for the nonprofits that participated. So that's a nice war chest to work with, and it created a nice buzz within the nonprofit community.
So what is, I guess to cover, I wanted to go through two things, and maybe, Ethan, if you want to run us through, or, George, if that's in your wheelhouse, whichever one. But at the end of the day, the the nonprofits, it's not, they've got to register, right? We've got to get them to the site. It's not, don't go wait till the day before, are you still can nonprofits still register? And then, kind of what's that look like? Is it a big lift, for them? Is this a 30-page government application that we're going to have to, figure out what the work burden is, that it's 12 hours to do something and we're going to have to call our CPA and all, then our lawyer, and then we're going to get copies of things that we don't know where they are? Or is this a easier lift?
Yeah. So the nonprofits do have to go through a registration process. It's a very easy lift. It is, there is a registration fee to participate. It's $75, and that was the early registration period. We've extended registration through the end of October. That comes with the original fee of $100. And we did that because of everything. We were originally going to close registration on October 1st so that nonprofits could really shift from registration and building mode to sort of, here's our plan for the day and how we can help them execute those plans. But with everything we've faced in our community, everything going on, we've extended that. We're working with some of the nonprofits that are still trying to get their registration complete. It's a very easy process. Then it allows you to go build your page. And like I said, our technology partner has made that very easy. However, there's always questions and there's always sort of barriers with technology to get anything kind of in the perfect place. We've committed staff resources, and United Way has committed staff resources to help all those individual nonprofits really make sure they are best positioned. They've really developed their page and they're in the right space to go raise those dollars. So we are in the final sort of stages of registration. That money really goes to not only help build the technology and the infrastructure that goes into it, but it also provides, we do over 8 trainings. We call it 225 Gives University, where we're doing trainings for all the nonprofits that have participated. So that is included in their registration fee. And then we'll do virtual labs with them the entire, basically back half of October through the middle of November, where they can schedule time with myself, members of the United Way team, to really help them with any question that they have, right? If I don't know how to build a social media solicitation strategy. I don't really know how to raise money online. Okay, well, schedule some time with us. Let us show you these resources that we've got and try to help get you in the best position to be successful. Because you're right, Brandon, a lot of these nonprofits are a staff of one. They can't do it all. Our goal is to use this day as a catalyst to larger fundraising and help them grow their annual fundraising plan. So we don't look at it as just a resource for them on one day. Yes, it is on one day, but we want to be able to provide them enough training and enough resources and materials that they can implement some of these strategies throughout the year and hopefully raise even more money than they've been able to raise in the past. Physical events have changed. I think a lot of physical fundraising events will ultimately come back. They're going to look different. You look around the country, and I would encourage anybody listening to this just to go Google, giving days. Go look and see if cities that have it. This is really becoming a platform that's really been successful for nonprofits. And I think in the times that we live in, having these technology partners to help us make it easy for nonprofits and for donors is going to continue to grow and grow. Like George said, we had no idea that we could generate over $500,000 in prizes and that nonprofits could generate the kind of money that they generated in year one with a 12-week lead time. This year, we hope that there's even more strategy and more effort put in place from our new participants and also the participants from last year to raise even more money. So
what we learned from last year,
I think
is what we learned from last year is that a lot of folks, nonprofits, came into this without knowing what it was and what to expect. And what we felt going into this year was that we really want to make sure they get solid information and instruction on how to build their sites, how to make the most of the online giving portal fundraising model, and then turn them loose. Let them do and be creative in coming up with their own strategies to help them tap into not only their existing donors, but to seek out new donors to help support their efforts. because this is the kind of fundraising that you get out of it what you put into it. So any organization that can be creative and create some excitement and a buzz around why it's important for donors to support their specific organization or their specific cause, it's really a great way to engage them in helping support your efforts.
Is there a way with the platform, and either way, it's not right or wrong, but is there a way to where if you wanted to make a donation, are you able to kind of earmark that for certain things, or memo the check, for lack of better words, that this is where what I'd like to see done with, or is it more of a general to that group?
For the most part, it's general. Now, some organizations may say, we're going to make it specific to a particular initiative or something that we want to do. Like for example, an organization may say they want to make this specific to their disaster recovery and help their efforts there. Some may want to do a building activity or something that supports their an expansion or whatever, but they have the freedom to do that. But it's hard for a donor to designate without having a clear program or focus within the organization to give to.
And Ethan, I've been kicking around on the site a little bit, and there's a lot of people already registered, and they're able to not only, it's all the basics that you would expect, right? A phone number, an address, social media links, but they're also able to put, videos and programs and all these different things. Are you seeing anyone, who's maybe able to say, have you seen some success stories, from that? Maybe it's like, hey, last year we participated and this is what we wanted to do and we were able to do this, or have you heard of any of those,
Yeah, so I haven't seen all of that yet on the current pages that are being populated. So we'll see how those nonprofits sort of reset those pages this year that participated last year. But we very much expect that narrative is going to be provided to their donors, their clients and constituents, and how they reach out. We saw really interesting success stories last year. There were organizations that did raffles that were a part of, hey, make a donation. We'll put you in a raffle for a signed Joe Burrow jersey. Well, who didn't want a signed Joe Burrow jersey last year, right? And so it was unique to that organization. They had that something that couldn't be sold in a silent auction at a physical fundraiser, so they kept it. And they said, you know what? We'll do it virtually with anybody. We'll put everybody's name in a hat. You make a donation to us of X amount or more. You go into the pot. They drew it, promoted it on social media after the day. There were organizations that we saw from our research, not specifically in Baton Rouge, although we had an animal adoption nonprofit here have unbelievable success last year. They came on, they brought their animals, they showed them off, they did, social media posts throughout the day with different animals. They had success not only adopting some of those animals, but really had success raising money. There was an organization that we saw in our research that offered to wash your dog if you made a donation on Giving Day. Who doesn't want a dog wash, right? So it's something so small to larger nonprofits who really started working, not larger, larger gifts that were received, because they really started working some of their donors ahead of time. They secured a match from a donor so they could double their impact. So there was a lot of different strategies that went in. Some started early. Some really waited until early giving and Giving Day to really just blast it out on social media. We saw lots of organizations that engaged their board. Board members love to say thank you. The board members love a job if you can give them something specific. And not all our board members like to ask for money. Some do. But all board members really don't mind saying thank you. I mean, we saw organizations last year that had board members set up on the day of making real-time phone calls to thank donors who made a gift, because the nonprofit has access to all of their information in real time. So that is their donor list. That is not United Way's. That is not mine. That is not 225 Gives. Those donors are their donors, and they can do whatever they want with them. So we saw all kinds of unique success stories. We saw so many organizations do some really great creative things on social media. And that's what we want this to be about, right? We want digital strategies to lead into digital fundraising on that day, or, or online fundraising. So, lots of great stories out there. And I hope they'll all celebrate those stories from last year on their page this year.
Yeah. What I think is so impressive about it, it's just that it makes it easy, and that's the thing I think we touched easier before is, I can grab a phone and I can make all the difference laying on a couch. I can make the difference. I can flip through and see kind of what it is. And that just makes it easy. I was sitting, I won't say where because I'm not 100% there yet, but I was at a place, within the last couple of weeks, and I was like, they could really use like their sound system fixed, and it's like, that's probably like in the course of things, it's probably like on the bottom of the bucket. But like to me, a sound guy, like I'm an audio guy, like it really bugs me if you're playing music and it doesn't sound right. I was like, I need to go, like, I need to make a donate. Like these people need some money to get, keep this thing around. But I'll be honest, I haven't done anything with it. I'm still trying to decide. But the other piece of it is, it's like, okay, I got to call and figure out who it is. Now I got to figure out where can I go. I just had a guy email me 2 hours ago, for something. And I was like, hey, can I just pay you something online? He's like, no, you put it in the mail. I'm like, really? Like, we're still there? Like, I can't go just, do this online. It makes it easier for people. And if the more you tear down, and I think if I use the analogy and what Amazon does, Amazon as a company is, they say it in when you really start researching what they do, they eliminate the friction between the buy. It used to be that you would turn around, and you would just go buy something wherever, and you'd have to go pull your wallet out, and you got to go put in the card, and you got to do it. I know I personally, and I think every time I bring this analogy up, when they store your card on file, they keep all of your shipping, it's all there. Most people will pay more money to get something at Amazon, so they don't have to get up and go get a card. They'll just go, and that's taking the friction out of it. They've even taken it as far now as to where you can just speak, to the Alexa devices and say, reorder this or reorder that. By getting rid of that friction, it allows more people to participate. And I think that's what you guys have done with 225 Gives, the website. And then also that focused, like you said, it's really focused on one day, but you got a couple more days, a couple weeks in there, but it brings it top of mind. And so if you're talking about it, and I'm talking about it, and George is talking about it, and we got 200 other nonprofits talking about it, it's like, hey, now we're top of mind awareness, and we've made it easy, and then we end up with a success.
So Brandon, you just hit the nail on the head. It accomplishes all of those things. It allows nonprofits to meet the donors where they are, and right, so that they can give on their terms. It allows us to do it collectively so that no one nonprofit has to go out and acquire this technology to do it to scale. And then it allows us to do it in a big way. I mean, you think about creating a giving day where you have a concerted marketing effort. There's going to be a lot of PR and press about the giving day, and it's going to create a level of awareness that you just can't achieve doing this on your own. Now, it's competitive, but there's also something about being a part of a larger pie. It gives you a better opportunity to tap into new people that I've had a number of donors, nonprofits tell me that they got new donors from this exercise just because they were on that platform.
Mm-hmm. No, and I think that's what, like you said, that's what we're all talking, without talking in circles. That's what we're trying to do, is to help and make it easy. Let these guys go do the work that they need to do, that our community needs, and let the community step up and support them. But if it's the likelihood of me bringing a check across town, I don't even like driving across town to go to a free lunch, to be honest with you. I live in a really small circle, my office, my house, my kids' school. You want me on the other side of town, it's a chore, and then if you want me to do it and drop a check off, that makes it even harder. So it's like, how do we do this? But then, it's even harder than that, getting me to remember. And so when that's the other piece, that's, if you can take the campaign, I'm in the business of marketing and I build brands and we get messages out and we're really good at it. We think we've done it for 31 years. We've done well. We've done well in our community. We can do it, but it doesn't touch, anything to where when I'm doing it, when you're doing it, when Ethan's doing it, 200 other groups and everybody's social media feeds and then all the people that work there, you just start getting this chatter and you can't get away from it. So now we've fought that apathy, which is, like I said, that's the hardest part, is getting me to remember. And then going, well, now I remember and I don't even have to go anywhere. It's a click, so I think that's what makes this so amazing to me, that we're kind of, as you said, I think you said best, meeting them where they are. And so, So I think at the end of the day, so how long, kind of to round this out, how much time does a nonprofit have if they're not set up with you guys already? They've got till the end of the month?
Yeah.
Or
so, well, we may, I don't want to say that we're going to extend it even further. We have extended it once. We'd like to have everything done by October 15th. If somebody runs into an issue, this is not about not being inclusive, right? If they're going to go through the process, they need to reach out to us at United Way, reach out to us at 225gives@cauw.org. If they've got questions, they can also call us, but we'd rather them send through the email, 225gives@cauw.org, or just go explore the registration information today on the website at 225gives.org. It's a simple process, but we're here to answer those questions. If somebody has an issue and it's close to that October 15th timeframe, no big deal. Work with us on it. But that's when we'd like to be finished with everything. That is our plan, so that we can focus these final month and a half really on setting up every participating nonprofit to be able to perform the best that they can with their donors. And, we've talked a lot about nonprofits, Brandon. I do want to say it's no different for also community supporters and companies and individuals who, are always looking this time of year to go, well, I've got 1 million requests from 1 million nonprofits out there. And, yes, I've got certain ones that I support and I'd like to support them all, but I don't know how to do it. They can participate and be a part of the Challenge Fund. And that's where we had a lot of our supporters last year say, you know what, I can't give to every nonprofit, but what they are facing this year, I want to try to support as many as possible. So they participated and became part of the Challenge Fund. And that let them connect to those 200 plus nonprofits as a supporter of all. So they helped provide the prizes, the incentives, and also the financial proportional share dollars that went out and was divided amongst the 200 participants. So not only do what a nonprofit raises that day, but then they have access to this other pot of money, so to speak, and that's funded through generous community supporters that are a part of the Challenge Fund. So again, if any company is interested and says, you know what, I'd like to put this into our giving strategy towards the end of the year, we'd love to talk to them too.
Yeah, you got me hung up on that, just financial proportional sponsorship like
yeah,
that sounds really complex.
It's pretty straightforward. There's a formula on the website. All that really means is that Challenge Fund money, we'll have prizes that get distributed every hour on the hour throughout the 24 hours of giving. There'll be other incentives and prizes that are associated, and then the remaining part of that Challenge Fund, basically there's a formula that just divides it out based on how well you do. So think of it this way. I can come in and I can win prizes. I can raise a bunch of money from donors and new donors, right? And then I get to split the remaining part of that money and I get a bigger proportion based on how well I do. And so there's multiple ways to encourage not only nonprofits to participate, but really donors and community supporters. So that's how the Challenge Fund works at a 30,000 foot view.
Sounds like we're going to have a lot of people going live on Facebook and every other media platform this day.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Go ahead, George.
I was just going to add, and then Brandon, there's more. We talk about how they get access to this new pool of donors, but after the event, after the 24 hours, they get to receive all of their donor information. So that's a pool of contacts, email addresses, information that they can then use to cultivate additional donor support for their nonprofits. It's a wonderful opportunity to help build their donor base and help them to create new ways to engage them in the work that they do.
Well, I've said it last year, I've said it this year. I think it's a phenomenal idea. I'm glad I get to at least be a part of it in some way to help get the word out. I think we've done, some other support there. If there's anything that we can do, just tell us. I always tell everybody, you've always got more important things to do than to sit around and talk to me all day. So I appreciate both of you taking some time to fill us in. I'd love to have you come back. Like I said, let's fight this apathy of not remember. Let's stay on top of people's mind. We can run through it again. Happy to do it. Let's make sure that everybody knows.
Yeah, we really appreciate it.
One of the things I'd like to say is that, look, we get into the holiday season. You've got all the shopping days and you got the cyber days. Think about Giving Tuesday, November 30th, in the same way. You're just shopping and supporting nonprofits that are filling critical needs in our community. That's the mindset that we want, potential donors that didn't participate last year and returning donors this year. Come learn something about the wonderful nonprofits in the 10 parish region. And then, figure out how that is part of your, holiday strategy, giving back and doing it in an easy and efficient way. So thanks for having us on. Remember, November 30th, 225gives.org.
Yeah, I'll leave. I think, didn't we say last year, like the unofficial rule we said was whatever you saved on Black Friday, you had to donate?
I think we did. I think we did.
I like that.
So
that works for me.
Yeah.
We'll leave it at that, and hopefully we'll have you guys come back on beforehand. We'll rustle some people up again. I appreciate it. Thank you, George.
All right. Pleasure meeting you, Brandon.
Thank you, Ethan.
Thank you, Brandon.
Right,
we appreciate it.